It's now 6:02, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. We first need to determine if there is a quorum, and do we have someone to call the roll?
She can, yeah.
All right.
Okie dokie, I don't have that pulled up. It'll take a minute, but I can tell you there is a quorum because we have 7 members and we have 4 present.
Okay.
Would you like me to call the roll?
Yes, please.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, we have David Waldron, Chairman.
Here.
Kenneth Perkins.
Here.
Felicia Anderson. She is absent. Rick Duffy. He is absent, and his position is now vacant. Teresa Hesse.
Here.
Kevin Rowland. Absent. John Rutledge.
Here.
All right.
Thank you.
So we do have a quorum.
We do have a quorum.
Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes? Any amendments, corrections?
Or we're speaking of the 2013 minutes?
Yeah,
Or minutes?
yeah, we get paid a lot, so we meet a lot.
Yeah,
Or
I
something
see.
like that.
I understand.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
All right, John seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No oppositions. All right, before we can proceed with any new business, we need to elect officers it's been since 2013 since we met, and we have not elected officers, so we need to do that. And I'm going to turn it over to Nick Christensen to conduct that, and I'll give you the chair.
Oh, no, I'll just stay right
Okay.
here. It's fine, Chairman. Thank you very much. Process is going to be pretty simple. Once we do it for the chairman, I'll turn it then back over to the chairman, and then the chairman at that point, or chairwoman, will go ahead and do the nomination and election for the vice chairman. So with regard to the chairman or chairwoman, I'm going to open up the floor to a nomination, and then if there is a nomination, would call for a second, and any discussion would be had. So I'll go ahead and do that. Open the floor to any nominations.
I'll nominate David for chairman.
We have a nomination for Mr. Waldron as chairman. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All right, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman. I'll turn it back over to you for the election of the vice
Thank
chairman
you.
or chairwoman.
And we need to elect a vice chairman. Do I hear a nomination for vice chairman?
I'd like to nominate myself for vice chairman.
Okay. Do I hear a second for Kenneth?
I'll second that.
Okay, John seconds. Any other nominations? If not, I'll call for a vote. Everyone in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. All right. Kenneth, you're vice chairman. We have new business, and before we start the new business, our council would like to explain one point of law in pertaining to the new business.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you could, just for the record, before I get to that, if you could read and call the new business as if we're ready to begin, and then I'm happy to interject
Okay.
after that.
The fire sprinkler system variance, proposed new construction to be located along Mason Road, tax map 17, parcel 17, consisting of 0.98 acres. Property owners Tennessee Valley Ice Company, LLC.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to make a point of order so that the board is aware and can then ask the applicant as to what their decision would be regarding the current application. And that is, our process allows that if we have less than 5 members present of this board, which we do here today, our process gives the applicant the option to request a postponement of the hearing to allow for obtaining a fifth member or sixth and seventh, however many, but more than the four and at least the five. They do not have to do that, but if they wish to do so to try and get 5 members to be voting on this, and knowing that there has to be a 2/3 majority vote in order for there to be any approval or denial of this, they have the option to do that. So I would advise the board to seek out whether they would like to or not, and if they want to still continue to proceed today, to have them say so, and we can proceed forward.
Okay. Do we have a representative present from Tennessee Valley Ice today? Yes. All right. You can come to the mic.
My name is Gary Bloodworth. I'm with Tennessee Valley Ice Company. We're out of Chattanooga. We've been in Nashville a while. We want to build a facility, and we found some land here in Laverne that seems suitable to us. So we've pursued that. We began our facility to get all the drawings and everything. We've come before the board to get it permitted. And my understanding is a building 5,000 square feet or less does not have to be sprinklered. Our building is 6,880 feet, but has a 3,200 foot freezer in square foot. It's 6,880 square feet, has a 3,200 square feet freezer in it. Therefore, there's outside the freezer, there's around 3,600 square feet. Our building is going to be a metal building. It's a transfer station that we're going to truck ice into Laverne, and then our route trucks are going to load there and go forward into Nashville. And I just wanted to come before it. 10% of the cost of my building is going to be fire suppression. So I wanted to come before the board and see if, in fact, with the square footage that we have in workspace, could we get some consideration or a variance for the fire suppression for this facility?
Well, I build houses, and I don't know, normally is there sprinklers required in an ice storage facility? That may sound like a strange question.
Well, it's, in our plant, it's not. We don't have them in our plant in Chattanooga.
Okay.
We also have a similar facility in Crossville, Tennessee, and we don't have one.
And I guess if it were to be sprinkled, it would have to be a dry system, more than likely.
No, it's a water system.
Okay.
It's a water system.
I would say that, you know, the freezer section of that would not be sprinkled, and the rest of the building would be sprinkled.
That's what I'm asking.
Right.
Okay.
But I think if I'm wrong here, is the question that was leading up to this to start off with before you started this is, do you want a fifth member on this board or not?
Oh, sorry, I did not ask that.
Sure. No.
I'm sorry.
No.
I mean,
No, that's the right question. I just failed to ask.
I just want to make sure that we are on task.
Procedurally wise, I understand that they're going to probably present some presentation or whatnot. It probably be wise at the beginning here to determine if they're okay with moving forward with the meeting and also the vote with just the 4 members here, knowing that they have the option to postpone until we get it.
Right. No, we'll accept the
Okay.
outcome
Okay.
of 4 members.
And I would also note that you do have a staff member here, the city codes enforcer. Do you have any questions regarding the sprinkler ordinance?
And are you the architect?
I'm the engineer. I'm
Okay.
a civil structural engineer. I'm Scott St. John Engineering out of Manchester.
Okay.
So we have laid out and talked through fire hydrant coverage, building separations, and those items here tonight, and the plans that we have submitted to the city.
Okay. Is there any type of firewall between the refrigeration part and the, I guess, assume office part?
No, there is not. There are freezer panels and then open area to the office.
The freezer panels, do they go from floor to ceiling, or is it space in between the top of the freezer to the ceiling?
There's a small space at the ceiling. The actual ceiling of the freezer is suspended by the purlins, supported by the purlins at the top of the building. So there's a very small clearance at the top.
Like
Yes.
ventilation on top of it? Is that how that works?
Well, you just can't go all the way against it to put a flat freezer. So you have to stay off of it. 12 to 16 inches typically.
Those are pre-manufactured and just bolted together, right? Those panels
those
for
panels,
the freezer?
yeah.
For the freezer?
Yes, sir.
You may add, Gary, I think part of this question, there's the fire sprinkler intent drawings, they've not shown sprinkler heads above that freezer area, probably because of limited space. Is that?
I would think so. I don't know that for a fact, but I would think so.
And you did say it was an all-metal building?
It is. It's a metal building with an office in the front, with a freezer, and then with a small area in the back with two docks to access the freezer.
How much of the office space is in that 3,600 square feet? That's not freezer area.
Can we tell him, do you have the
I
exact?
have the floor plan. Okay.
Sure.
And you'll see this is all the freezer area here, so the office is 24 by 13, so 25 by 13 is pretty much the office area.
Right. And then that includes your bathrooms and your
And then you have
the
the
small
back
break
room,
room or something.
So it's 50 by 13 is that office area.
Okay.
And you have really this corridor around the freezer area, that freezer being the 3,200 square feet, and they have this loading, shipping, receiving area there.
In your storage area, what type of storage is that? I mean, is it dry goods? Is it pallets? Is it what are we talking about storing?
Basically, you're talking about the dry space.
The dry space, yes.
The dry space is really just to access the freezer, but in all honesty, there will be some pallets in there as they come back on the trucks.
Right.
They get trailered back out. There will be some pallets in there, but that's all. It's really not a storage area for anything.
I'm just trying to understand the fire load of what kind of fire load are you going to have in that open area to determine what are we looking at for fire load? I mean, what are you having besides pallets and that? I mean, what kind of goods is it?
There will be electric pallet jacks.
Right.
We load our trucks with electric pallet jacks.
Okay.
There will be an electric forklift. We don't use propane because ice picks up the odor of propane. And that's basically it.
Okay.
That's all we have there.
So everything else is ice inside the freezer, and
There
that's
is a possibility we could bring an ice box in on a truck and unload it in that area and load it back out. But other than that, no, that's basically it. Primary storage is this, the ice in that area right there.
you guys need to see.
Now, I guess one last question. One last question. It says, yes, 3,200 square feet of the 6,800 square foot building is freezer area, and the yielding square footage is 3,680. Is that entire area sprinkled? Meaning everything besides the freezer, is that all of it sprinkles, correct?
Of that 3,800, yes, that 3,800,
30,
that's your question.
yeah, the 3,680 is all of that area sprinkled.
But what they're asking is, as I understand it, is they want a variance that they don't have to sprinkle any of it.
Yes.
Since more than half of it or up to half of it is freezer. Is
Our-
that correct?
That
Yes,
is the
our
correct
understanding is
question, right.
5,000 square feet and under does not require sprinkles. So
Correct.
our question is, our actual dry space
It's 3,600.
is 3,680, yeah,
Right.
so.
And the sprinkler intent drawings that have been prepared to date only sprinkle that 3,600 square feet, as I understand. And I don't have those drawings with me here, but that's the yielding square footage.
Also, the primary electrical load for this building is the compressors outside at the condensing units. This is merely a storage building, so the primary load is at 2 condensing units that are outside the building. There's not a lot of electrical inside. Evaporators in the office, and that's basically it. And I think Scott can tell you in what reference the fire hydrants are in reference to the lot.
Now, I can show you on the plan, but there's existing hydrants prior to the site and just after the site. The one that's closest to the site is 100 feet off the property line.
Stone Mark Trail Command, dispatch. Command.
We have 100 foot from fire hydrant to corner of site. As the truck lays a hose through, we're 417 to the back corner is what we have. So from that point to here, so we have complete coverage, of the building that's less than a 500 foot is right at a 417.
And there's another one coming from the opposite
There
direction
is.
as well,
It's 155 feet.
from
to
the other side and 100 from this from
Yes.
this side?
Yeah, so we label the coverage being from that closer hydrant.
Of course.
We have the hose lay of just right at 400 feet.
Okay, if y'all don't mind, I'd like to hear from, the codes director, and
Sure.
then if we have any more questions, we'll call for you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, how are you? Is there any questions direct questions you have that,
Well, have you got any concerns that you would like to present on what?
I want to clarify one thing. You did say that you do have dock doors, you're not bringing those vehicles
That's correct.
inside the building for
No.
loading or unloading, so
No.
everything will be pulled back to a dock door.
Absolutely.
The freezer area can be sprinkled with a dry system if that's needed. I will say this, that in reviewing the fire code and the building code, their use for what they're doing, the International Fire Code would not require this building to be fire sprinkled.
Okay.
The fire load is not of a number where that it would exceed 3 stories above grade. 12,000 square feet would be generally where the threshold where the International Fire Code would pick up and step in and mandate that it be fire sprinkled.
Right.
If they were to present to me today without the 5,000 square foot local requirement, I would not ask that building be fire sprinkled. But because it is greater than 5,000 square feet due to our local ordinance, it is required to be fire sprinkled.
Do you feel like there should maybe be a firewall between the office space and?
I don't.
Okay.
The type of construction that they're going to use, and I'm assuming when you say metal building, it's metal frame walls?
Yes.
I wouldn't even think that at that point there would need to be any kind of fire separation due to the fact that the fire load is minimal inside the freezer container.
Right.
And the office space is typical office furniture, wall
Okay.
finishings and things of that nature wouldn't come into play.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Would y'all like to make any further comment after that?
If you have any other questions?
Be glad to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
I second.
Okay. All right. Let's have a show of hands on this, if you don't mind. All in favor, raise your hand. Anyone opposed? All right. Any other business to come before the board? All right. We're adjourned.